Anthony, thank you. Good morning, friends and colleagues. I shall be brief. I want you to begin by examining that slide. I took that photograph myself about a year ago in one of America's truly great libraries, famous for its collections indeed, I would say second to one. It's a beautiful reading room. I envy this reading room. It's soaring high ceilings, skylight, natural light flooding down into the space, handsomely furnished with classical, neoclassical details, the built-in bookshelves, the furniture, the comfort, students hard at work, and yes, indeed, print books on the bookshelves. But look a little more closely at those print books. They all look alike. They're the same size and shape. They're rather tall and bulky in a dark fatigue sort of green. Now, I have reason to suspect that there are individuals present here who are, in fact, professional librarians of a certain age. If there are, I suspect some of you should recognize those books. Do I hear any guesses? NUC. We present to the brightest students of this generation for their delectation the 750 volumes of the National Union Catalog pre-1956 imprints. We need to remember to admire that extraordinary technology-assisted tool for improving bibliographical access. It was a miracle in the days of our youth. It is now somewhere in the vicinity of obsolete. Yes, I know there are wizards in the tribe who will tell you that there are days on which you still need to go back to NUC to track down that particular volume, and they're right. But you will notice in this photograph an absence of undergraduates elbowing and jostling each other on the way to the shelves to grab their favorite volumes. Is this, I ask, the future of the print book in our libraries? At Arizona State University, we think not. We think the print book has a glorious future in front of it if we just but take it, if we just strategize to make it happen. We have a special opportunity at ASU because we're about to do a major renovation, gutting to the walls the 1966 Charles Hayden Memorial Library, our signature stacked tower. We get to start over from scratch. For the moment, the books are leaving the building. Occasional panicked undergraduates come up to me with, "You're taking the books away." The books are actually looking forward to the trip. They're moving to our high-density shelving facility. In Arizona, 50 degrees Fahrenheit and 35% humidity feels really good to a book. They're going to enjoy the trip. When I described the high-density facility to our visionary president, Michael Crow, he said, "Sounds to me like your fulfillment center." And I said, "Fulfillment center. That's a good way to think about it." With new digital tools for access to what's out there, with accelerated retrieval, we will be able to deliver from that high-density facility to all of our students wherever they happen to be, including the 25,000 online-only degree candidates who are scattered around the United States and around the world. We're inventing a new generation of service. When we come back to the Hayden Tower, we will bring in about 325,000 volumes. So the challenge for us for now is to think about which 325,000 volumes we bring back and how we keep them from becoming wallpaper or furniture, how we keep them from becoming invisible and disappearing. So over the last months, we have written a white paper. Which books, where? The Future of Academic Library Print Collection, A Space for Engagement. I'm happy to acknowledge the support of a planning grant from the Andrew W. Mellon Foundation that made this work possible. In this document, which was circulated to Charleston attendees before the conference, and my thanks to Leah Hines for doing that, we lay out the first steps of a strategy and a planning process for taking what we're thinking of as a zero-based budgeting approach to the books that go into the building. If you didn't have any books, which 325,000 would you put there? Why? How would you display them? How would you make them objects of engagement for a new generation of students who will enter this building in 2020 and after? We will, of course, draw upon the 4.5 million volumes in our collection, but we will probably buy other volumes as well in order to stock that collection. I just had the pleasure of spending $1,000 on a new copy of the Oxford English Dictionary, partly because I was astonished you could get one for $1,000. I thought I should get 6. Our old copies were falling apart, but we think it's important to have those books on a shelf where students can see them, to brand the Oxford English Dictionary, to introduce to a 19-year-old what it means to use a real dictionary. Let me tell you one other experiment we've undertaken. About 6 months ago, we acquired a set of the Oxford University Press very short introductions. You just read about them in The New Yorker, if you haven't seen them otherwise. 502 volumes. If you buy the complete set, here's a hint for you, you can probably negotiate with Oxford to get a free twirly rack thrown in to shelve them in your library. We put them in front of the circulation desk, right where you come into the building, right next to the soft seating. They've been out there for 6 months. There are 502 volumes in that series. In that 6 months, 444 volumes have been checked out, an average of 2 times each. We are moving that product. We're making those books engaging to the students who are at Arizona State University today. What else can we do in that direction? We have ideas about selection, about curation, about display. We're going to bring in a retail consultant to talk to us about how we make our materials visible and usable. We're designing our building to emphasize special and distinctive collections as you walk in the door. If you're a student at ASU 3 years from now, you won't be able to come in to do your calculus homework without passing exhibits, without passing books you can handle that will suggest to you something of the riches and possibilities that only a great university provides, that only a great university library provides. We're excited. We're moving forward at a warp speed on this project, but we also know that we cannot do it simply alone. So my purpose in talking to you today is to encourage you to read the white paper, to think about how this can have effect in your libraries, and in particular, to think if you want to join with us in the conversation, the planning, and the conspiracy to invent new ways to make the print book in the modern research library exciting and visible and engaging for our students. To that end, we are hosting tomorrow a lively lunch. I will be joined by my colleague, Laurie McAllister, who is our Associate University Librarian for Collections and Strategy. She's been the lead investigator on the work we've done with the Mellon Grant we have so far. We'll be in the Gaillard Grand Ballroom, I think Ballroom 1, but you'll find us at 12:45 tomorrow. We'll talk a little bit more about the project and what we've been doing and what we are doing, but we will really want to hear from the people who come to that meeting what you're already doing in your libraries, what other ideas, wishes, and suggestions you might have. And there will be a sign-up sheet for staying in touch, for becoming part of what I say we're describing as this conspiracy on behalf of the printed book. To that end, here again is a reference for the white paper. That tiny URL is one that didn't work in one browser for me, so I've given you the long gibberishy version as well, and we'll leave that on for the next couple of minutes. But if you have any trouble accessing the white paper, or if you're not able to join us tomorrow but would like to stay in touch with this project, the animation does not work. My message is, write to me. Fortunately, my email address is fairly simple, jod@asu.edu. Between midnight and 7 a.m. Eastern Time, my response time drops off slightly most days, but I will respond quickly. We will look to engage as many fellow institutions as possible. We have a program for doing a little case study of where you are and can then work forward with you, looking for the kind of partners who want to make sure that the print book has a lively and energized future for our students for generations to come. I said I would be brief, and I trust I have been. Thank you for your time and attention, and thank you to Katina and Leah for giving us this moment in the spotlight. I hope to see as many of you as possible tomorrow. Thank you.